Across Nigeria, public schools shape the dreams of millions.
I want to become a pharmacist in the future.
But behind the morning chants and chalk-stained fingers lies a quiet struggle.
You have some of them not even being able to write their names properly, or the names of the schools they are coming from.
Nigeria is Africa's most populous nation, rich in culture, abundant in talent, and full of promise. But behind the vibrant energy of its youth lies a painful truth. Nigeria is in the middle of an education crisis. Millions of children are out of school, classrooms are falling apart, and teachers are overworked and underpaid. So how did we get here, and who is fighting to fix it? This is Nigeria's education crisis, the fight for quality.
Do not have an incentive to want to go into rural environments. They will not go.
The West African Examination Council, or WAEC, has been a cornerstone of education in Anglophone West Africa since 1952. It conducts the West African Senior School Certificate Examination, commonly known as WASC.
WAEC result is an assessment. It's an assessment. It's a standard assessment. An assessment usually has scorecards of, children's learning in a system.
Data from the National Bureau of Statistics indicates that between 2019 and 2021, public schools across Nigeria presented a total of 2,548,673 candidates for the West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination, WASC. But when it comes to actual performance, especially the crucial benchmark of passing 5 subjects, including mathematics and English, the numbers show that in 2019, out of 879,431 public school candidates, only 447,809 made the cut. That's just over half of the candidates.
Since independence in 1960, Nigeria has made efforts to expand access to education. Programs like the University Primary Education in the 70s and the Universal Basic Education Scheme in 1999 aimed to ensure free schooling for all. But decades of underinvestment, poor planning, and political instability meant those dreams were only partly fulfilled. By the early 2000s, Nigeria had one of the highest out-of-school population globally, and in the last decades, things have only gotten worse.
I missed my teacher, my friends, all my schoolmates. I missed them.
Finish primary school, so I couldn't afford for the starting. So for the midterm, I asked her to stay.
I'm worried that I'm not going to school. That even my classmates, they are asking me why I'm not going to school.
Between 2015 and 2023, under President Muhammadu Buhari, the education sector saw little real progress. Promises were made, but funding stayed low, and by 2022, more than 20 million Nigerian children were out of school. That's 1 in every 5 of all out-of-school kids in sub-Saharan Africa. In 2025, Nigeria ranked 189th out of 190. So remember, 189 out of 190 countries in the World Bank's Human Capital Index. The nation's failure to invest in its children's education is now threatening its entire future.
So with education in Nigeria, the country has ranked 124 out of 137 countries in terms of quality of primary education, according to World Economic Forum. Now, this situation, experts believe, has...
By the way, this video was a year ago. Now it's been updated to 189 out of 190.
Worsened due to the low access rate by students and parents as a result of the rising cost of education, both at primary and secondary levels. Bridging this gap is the reason quality education remains top of the list for Sustainable Development Goals to ensure education is affordable and accessible for all, regardless of their socioeconomic background. News Central's Omolola Olalade has more in this report.
Nigeria's literacy rate increased by about 7% to a total of 61%, leaving 31% of the population non-literate. 68% of the youth in Nigeria in 2020 had received secondary education, and 15% of them had completed primary education, while 17% pursued higher studies after secondary education, according to Statista.
Nigeria spends less than 8% of its annual budget on education, far below the 15 to 20% recommended by UNESCO. In 2022, only 5.4%. Oh gosh. It's so disheartening because I can't even believe I'm reading these figures. In 2022, only 5.4% was allocated. Schools are left to rot. Teachers go unpaid. Capital progress stall, and there's never enough to cover materials, training, or infrastructure. We've got overcrowded classes, no electricity, no libraries, no labs. Only 35% of public secondary schools have science labs, and only 17% of schools have internet access. Many rural schools lack perimeter fencing or water supply. Some students sit on bare floors to learn. There is also a shortfall of over 200,000 teachers. Overloaded classes, especially in STEM subjects, are the norm. Many teachers are underqualified. Continuous training is rare, and some teachers have no computer skills and haven't attended a single workshop in years. And the best educators are leaving, either for private schools or abroad. Then came ASUU strike. Since 1999, the Academic Staff Union of University, ASUU, has gone on strike at least 16 times in just the past decade: 5 months in 2013, 3 months in 2018, 9 months in 2020, and 8 months in 2022. Students are forced to graduate years later than expected. Morale is low, parents are exhausted, and many students simply drop out or just continue their studies abroad. And we also have to look at the insecurity. Armed groups target schools. Boko Haram, bandits, and kidnappers have adopted hundreds. I covered this in some of my previous videos. Schools are shut down out of fear, especially in the north. Millions of children, especially girls, are pulled out of school by parents worried about their safety. Add poverty, child labor, early marriage, and the Almajiri system, and you have more than 20 children missing out on education.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, has threatened to go on strike if the government fails to release the 150 billion naira meant for the revitalization of Nigerian universities. The union's president, Chris Piwuna, made the demand during a news conference in Abuja, citing an earlier agreement reached with the government. While the union wants the government to conclude the renegotiation process and sign the agreement, ASUU also demands the payment of 3.5 months' salaries owed to its members due to the 2022 strike. The union also wants the government to release the backlog of promotion arrears and pay withheld salaries of sabbatical and part-time lecturers.
Students are also promoted without learning. Most 10 years olds in Nigeria can't read a sentence. WAEC and NECO results show mass failure, and graduates lack basic skills. Many are deemed unemployable. Teachers are demoralized and they have been working side jobs to survive. Families are left to make painful sacrifices, which is like sending their kids to low-cost private schools or pulling them out entirely, and the gap between the rich and the poor keeps widening. This is not just a school issue, it's now a national crisis.
Education cannot wait. A global fund for education in emergencies of the United Nations has raised concerns over the increasing number of out-of-school children in Africa. This was during a discussion where the executive director of the group called on the international community to support efforts that will take the children back to school. News Center's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
There are millions of children across the African continent who are not attending school or receiving any form of formal education. In Nigeria, the situation is even more dire, with approximately 20 million out-of-school children. This is largely due to various reasons such as conflict, poverty, and lack of access to quality education.
9 out of 10 school-age children in sub-Saharan Africa cannot read a simple text. How is this possible in the 21st century? Why did this happen? It can be changed, but we got to have a greater equity and sharing of resources to allow the African continent to really make sense of 2024 as the year of education for Africa.
Nigeria's education crisis is deep but not irreversible. It will take both funding, real reform, political will, and public pressure. But if Nigeria starts investing in its children today, the payoff will be a generation ready to build, lead, and transform the nation. Because the fight for quality education is not just a policy issue, it's a fight for Nigeria's future. Just like Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon. So what do you think Nigeria needs to fix first in its education system? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more awareness videos like this. Thank you very much for watching today, and see you in the next video.